The following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at BICBP-radio.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Big Yak Podcast. I am your host, not Mike Pareto. Mike is currently battling some sort of disease. We don't know what it is, but
The monkeypox?
yeah, something crazy.
Who knows?
So it is I, Nico Benny, in Mike's chair today, and with me is the founder of the BICBP Productions Network, Mr. Matt Johnson himself.
Hello
How are you
there.
today?
I'm great, buddy. How are you?
Good.
Thanks
good.
for having me.
We're happy to have you here.
Sorry I couldn't be on last week for episode the mystery episode, but
yeah, we lost it, so it's a good thing it didn't come.
It's gone. It's in the cloud. It's in the cloud.
I
No.
think it got rained out of the cloud or something. I don't know.
No, seriously, I appreciate you guys asking me to be on. It's always nice to be wanted. So thank you.
You definitely are, and thank you for hosting us.
Of course, of course. You guys are doing a great job. I see you're very involved in the social media stuff, your TikToks, your Instagrams, all that stuff. So keep up the good work. I'm proud of you both.
Thank you.
And of course, shout out to Moranto for
Of course, every week.
his poor back, not just because of what your dad did to him at the gym, but for just carrying everybody's show here too.
Yeah, I'm just going to say Jeremy Salambini, great personal trainer, but you're going to pay for it. And after you pay for it, you're paying for someone to literally break every bone or muscle in your body. But
Wears you down.
so sore today.
Wears you down and builds you up.
Yeah, that's right.
You're gonna be yoked by the time Christmas hits. Yoked, absolutely yoked. Yoked Moranto. I can't wait.
This is hoodie season right now. It's cold, so you hide this bod, and then you come out in the summer, and you're just
Like a beautiful butterfly.
chiseled.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but
This is rich
I
chiseled
wanted a
Moranto.
T-shirt. I just wanted a T-shirt that's when I used to run. I wanted a T-shirt that says "I run so I can drink beer." That's all I really wanted. But I can't run anymore. But knees can't take it. So
Just lunges instead.
Yes. Those hurt too.
So Matt, being kind of the front runner of BICBP, you have a couple shows yourself. Most notably for this show, the 2 Point Conversation. Why don't
That's
you talk
correct.
about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I'm winding down with it a little bit, but I started it in 2018 with the idea of just having open dialogue, like football conversations. I love to talk football with people, and I found that I wasn't getting that satisfaction just trying to do it via social media.
Definitely.
People are awful. Like people are awful. I can't stand the ESPN just like style. Just I gotta yell at you and tell your opinion sucks, and then not offer a counter opinion, or just the whole yelling back and forth thing. I can't stand it. So I created it with the idea of just having good conversations with people, and I've been very, very fortunate to do it for the last. This is our 5th football season, but fourth year overall. And it's been a fun ride. I've met a lot of cool people throughout, made friends in different states that have been co-hosts or guests at some point. But it was it got to be a lot. There was at one point we were going 7 days a week, and it was I loved it. I loved the work. I loved the just constant attention to it. But it's starting to roll it back a little bit, and I feel a lot better.
Good. Yeah, that's good. It seems it's done its time, and it's good that you're kind of transitioning over. You had a couple other, Colts fan and Bills land.
Yeah,
you are a Colts fan, as you can tell from the hat.
am. Yeah, still going strong with that one. I'm probably gonna keep that one going strong. I got to have an outlet somehow. And the Colts are my team, so if I can talk about that instead of again, like complaining on Twitter or complaining on Facebook, it's a little bit more constructed and creative. It's a much better outlet for that.
Nice.
So there's that one. Eat Sleep List, which is one that Moranto's been a part of.
that's my favorite.
2 or 3 times, I think.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times where we just pick a topic and make a top 10 list, and it's
that
a
one's
lot
so
of fun.
good because it's a podcast for everybody.
Right.
Like, you can just look through the list, and that's what I do. Like, I'm Friday, Sunday driving up to Albany, so I'm going to, there's a bunch I haven't seen. I haven't heard too much from this last season, so I'm going to just kind of listen to a bunch of those in the car. And I like it because you always have a different person on, and then it's just a different topic. It could be anime, or it could be pizza, or it could be anything. And so there's always something for everybody on that one.
That's why I like doing it, because I found myself, when all the shows I did were, in a specific thing, right? There's the football show, and then there's my comic book, pop culture show, panel discussion. I was doing video games before. I'm like, I need to do something where every week is different. So that became that. One week we're talking about favorite vacation spots. The next week, car chases or stuff like that. So it's helped mix things up and keep things fresh for me.
That's fun. That's real fun. Why don't we get on into it?
Yeah.
As you know, every guest that comes on the show has to be subjected to the 2-minute drill.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Our last guest did pretty well. I think that was Mr. Rodney, and he had a lot of time left. Mike kind of dragged the last question, so it ate into his time. But take away Mike's little bit, and I think he came off with the best time. So without further ado, let me get onto the 2-minute clock. And then it will start in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady have been underwhelming this year. Should they have retired?
Yes and yes.
Giants had another huge upset, this time over Baltimore. Is it finally safe to say that they're for real?
Competitive, but not for real.
Competitive, for not for real, okay.
If that makes sense. Daniel Jones has to step up. They're
fair.
winning in spite of him, not because of him.
That's fair. Patriots now have a little QB battle between Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. This sounds familiar. Who should the Pats stick with for now?
Don't worry, be Zappy.
Be Zappi, I like it. What team is the best fit for a potential Christian McCaffrey trade?
God. It'd be nice to see him in Buffalo, but they have enough people on the injury report. So it's so hard. Teams are kind of running away from the running back, like the heavy running back. KC might be interesting, but they're doing okay with that Pacheco. So it's hard to tell. I don't know. Basically, somebody who wants to sell jerseys.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins over/under 100-yard game tomorrow night. First game back. Over. I was having over 110 yards. And Colts prediction, final season prediction. What's their win-loss record?
God, you monster. I would like to see them finish. I'd be happy with 11-5-1, but I don't know what they are. They could, if they play what they did against Jacksonville, they could beat just about anybody. We'll see, though. We'll see.
17 seconds to go.
All right.
Nice job, my friend. Got a round of applause there.
Thank you.
Spoken like a true podcaster. This guy knows his stuff.
A little bit, just a little bit. When you're doing football podcasts for 4 or 5 years, you kind of got to be on top of it.
Never know what's coming at you.
No, dude, I did it. I guessed on one show one time, and I was listening to all the crappy Lions receivers from 3 years ago, and this one dude's like, "Ooh, how do you know that?" And I'm just like, "Dude, because it's kind of my job.
I gotta talk about it."
I literally have to talk about it. It was yeah.
So, the next part of our show, we always go into our Take It to the Bank segment. This segment is kind of transformed over time, but we've kind of settled in as a good schedule for it. So we're going to go through NFL Week 7 odds. We're going to talk the spread, and we're going to talk the over-under, and you're going to let me know what you think on each game.
Okay.
So we're going to start with tomorrow, a Thursday night game, New Orleans Saints against the Arizona Cardinals. The Saints are 2.5 underdogs in Arizona. Over-under set at 43.5. What are you thinking?
I would go the under. I think the Cardinals take it to them. I really do. They've been disappointing, but Murray and D-Hop together has just been there's a big track record there. There's a big track record there. And they just lost Hollywood Brown for a month, I seen, but yeah.
Do you think Robbie Anderson makes a difference this game? Do you think he's even active this game?
No.
No,
not
people.
at all.
People were kind of making Robbie Anderson like the second coming here, right?
Dude, no.
He
he was good. I used to get him in fantasy all the time, and I know we're going to talk fantasy a little bit, but he was good for maybe 2 or 3 good games in a season. You pick him up, he was that dude that's always at the top of the waiver wire order. He's like literally the turd that just won't go down the toilet. And he's good for like one deep ball every now and then. He's just, dude, he's not. It's not working.
No.
It's not working.
I started to see, we had some of our waivers clear in a couple of my leagues, and Robbie Anderson's already going for like $10, $15 in FAB dollars. I mean, you're talking 10 to 15% of your budget for someone that might give you a couple good games.
I avoided him like the plague. I mean, maybe they find a way to use him because they have to, but I'm good on that.
I'm looking at Rondale Moore's usage too, and they really liked him last game, and I feel like they're going to continue to build off of that. And with DeAndre Hopkins back, I mean, I don't really see.
Right, it's hard. Kyler's just kind of chuck it up and yeah.
D-Hop down there somewhere. Yeah, so I'm going to take the Cardinals. The Saints are also pretty injured. I think I saw Marshawn Lattimore's out.
Lattimore, I seen Michael Thomas, big shocker there, and Jarvis Landry, maybe a couple other pieces, but this might be the best Thursday Night Football match that we've had in a couple weeks.
But saying much.
But no, it's not. Saints have been really both these teams have been really disappointing this year.
Yeah, give me the Cardinals out of spite. I'll have them covering too. They'll probably win this by a touchdown in Arizona.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, give me the under. I see a 21-17 type game here.
For sure.
Going on to the Sunday games, start with the Lions at the Cowboys.
God.
The Cowboys are 7-point favorites, and the over/under is set at 48.5. How you feeling?
I think I'm going to take the under on this one. The Lions are like right there before the Patriots game, which is this is 2 weeks ago. They were the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL. And the Patriots shut them out. And I think the Cowboys' defense is a little bit better than that.
I agree.
They have some studs. They have some superstars. I think they fight. I think the Lions will score. I think the Cowboys will put some points on the board. This could be Dak's big comeback game, but I would take the under on this one.
Yeah, Dak's coming back at the right time. This game, I don't think it's going to be close, but I don't think it goes over 48.5.
No.
I feel like Bill Belichick kind of put the blueprint out to stop the Lions, and we're going to kind of see them fizzle out, which is unfortunate because they're a really fun team to watch.
I wanted it to be a playoff team so bad. I wanted to put money on them before the season to make the playoffs. I was like, oh, the hype is real, right? This offense is not bad. Like Jared Goff, not bad. Amon-Ra St. Brown, criminally underrated.
Yes.
And their defense is just not good.
They're the Jameis Winston of NFL teams right now.
I think that's a fair.
That 30 touchdown, 30 interception game. They're the number 1 offense in the NFL before the Patriots game, but the number 32 defense in the league.
Yeah, you can't win like that. I remember the Chargers years ago. This is a little bit different. They had the number 1 offense, number 1 defense,
worst special teams,
and they did not go to the playoffs. So
Micah Parsons is the truth.
Yes,
that defense is unbelievable, and Dak's coming back. And Dak is back.
And Dak's really good. I mean, people like to hate on Dak, but the dude puts up numbers.
Definitely.
All the time.
Yes. And I feel like every single year I see him in top 5 in passing yards. He does not leave that list.
No, he doesn't. I think he's maybe had 1 or 2 down years. He's been, since 2016, I think, frequently over 4,000.
Yeah.
And he puts up the numbers, just the playoffs not so good.
Yeah. Before that Sunday night game, it looked like there could have been a quarterback controversy with Cooper Rush and Dak Prescott.
I thought about it. I actually thought about it for a little while. We did the Patriots one, right?
Yeah.
The Zappy Jones. And I was like, would they really pull the trigger on that and just switch, literally just ride out with Cooper Rush? But then I'm like, they are paying Dak a lot of money, but
too much money to
probably. Jerry Jones legit said, "Hey, I'm overpaying you." To his face at the press conference. I'll never forget that. Way to instill confidence in your quarterback. But Dak's a lot more aggressive than Cooper. Cooper plays safe, right? Like Tyrod Taylor, kind of safe, level
good
safe.
Game manager.
Yes.
Someone that isn't going to lose the game, but he's not going to win you the game.
Correct. Where Dak, you put the ball in his hands, and if you have the right pieces around him, you can go and do some things. So
Definitely. Give me Cowboys. Give me them covering. Give me the under.
I definitely think they'll cover.
Indianapolis Colts, your Colts versus the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. The Titans are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under is set at 42.5.
Oh, dear God. I want to say the over. I want to see a good game like we seen last week with Indian Jags.
Yep.
I do. I think the Titans will cover the spread. I don't know if with the win. I hope not with the win, though. Again, I don't know about Indy. The Titans are so well coached. Both these
Vrabel's
teams.
an unreal
Vrabel is.
coach.
I would kill to have Mike Vrabel as my head coach. I'm kind of over Frank Reich, but he always gives me that hopium. Every time I get sick of him, he's like, "Oh no, come on back."
He's such a great story that you want to follow him.
Yeah.
He's someone you want to root for, but the game managing decisions just they
Terrible.
always seem to shoot themselves in the foot.
Always.
The end of it.
Always. The Titans are very, very capable of winning. I mean, everybody thought they were going to be down this year, and they're still winning games somehow, some way. Derrick Henry's been
Surprise! Derrick Henry looks like Derrick Henry.
And everyone's like, "Oh, Derrick Henry's washed." In the playoff game last year when he came back after having screws put in his foot, yeah, of course he's going to be a little slow to get going. It's hard. Like it. Again, I know if this Colts team can put it together, the O-line's going to stay the same from what it was last week. That they can do some things, and I don't know. Regardless, so I think the Titans will cover the spread.
I see. You're going against your own team, man. I have the Colts winning this one. I have the underdog. I have the upset alert here. These divisional matchup games are always so wonky.
Yeah.
You never know what can happen in any divisional game, and I always tend to bet the over when it comes to divisional matchups.
Yeah.
But the Colts, they kind of showed me something last week, and I feel like if they can start putting some things together, this might do it.
It's the consistency thing that always stresses me out, and that's why it's always hard. Like I try to just not get my hopes up too much, and that way I can never be disappointed. But man,
kind of. We'll talk more about this during the fantasy talk.
Yeah.
But what to do with Jonathan Taylor?
He's been moving around a lot in some of the leagues I've been in.
Number 1 overall pick, and he was the consensus number 1 overall pick, but it just didn't have the same effects that number 1 overall picks had in years past. I felt like.
No, it depends. In recent memory, the McCaffreys and the Saquon Barkleys have been pretty disappointing too. But
that's true.
This is, I have some thoughts on that. We'll talk on the fantasy.
Give me Colts covering. At least give me the points. This is a toss-up game. I think this could go either way, but I like the Colts covering at 2.5.
Yeah.
And give me the over because it's a divisional matchup. Let's move on to Giants at Jags. The Jags are 3-point favorites. And just like we said, people keep sleeping on the Giants. I slept on the Giants 2 weeks ago until they came in and punched the Ravens in the mouth.
Yeah.
And the over-under is set at 41.5. I mean, this almost feels like a trap.
It does. We talked about this on my show. We do our pick'ems. We put it at the episode out on Thursdays. And I'm like, what does Vegas know? What do they know? Like, I know this Jags team has been kind of on the receiving end of some beatings lately, but I'm fine with the under on this one. Completely fine with it. Oh, man. But, like, what do they know? Because this Giants team is way more consistent.
I guarantee come Sunday, like, 12 o'clock, like right before those lines close, there's going to be a major shift towards New York. And
probably.
That I say take the 3 points where they're at right now.
I should probably see what the betting, what the trajectory. People have been betting, according to DraftKings, 65% bets for the Giants.
Yeah, and I feel like that's going to get even more skewed as we get closer to Sunday.
Most likely. I definitely go the under on that one, but I got the Giants winning.
That's easy. I got the Giants definitely on the money line, and the money line's at plus 130. This is almost like last week. Were you a victim of that Justin Herbert odds boost?
No.
Did you hear about that?
No. What happened?
So there was an odds boost to kind of get people to join FanDuel, and they set it so the odds for Justin Herbert to throw one passing touchdown, it was at like minus 900, but they set the odds to plus 100. So people slammed this bet because it was free money.
Right.
Justin Herbert didn't throw a touchdown pass at this last game. He went 26 consecutive games before this throwing a touchdown pass. This is his first game in 27 games where he did not throw a touchdown pass, and
makes you wonder.
FanDuel made money.
Makes you wonder.
FanDuel made a lot of money for that.
And aren't they an NFL like corporate sponsor or something like that.
Yeah, I
which
think
is
they
really
Them and
one of the
Caesar's
other
Palace.
podcasts that that I do the production for. They were talking about that, and it's like it's so bizarre. Like, and you said something like, "What does Vegas know? What does FanDuel know?" Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. I just don't. I don't trust big corporations.
I've spent so much time around professional wrestling that I like being involved in it, being a fan of it, that I see this stuff. I'm like, come on, man. Like, what do you? There's something up here. There's something up here. Vince McMahon's pulling the strings behind
That's
the
why he
Something's
retired.
going on.
That's why
He retired from the WWE.
He's running
NFL.
FanDuel now.
He's yes.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Give me the Giants covering, give me them winning, give me the money line, and give me the under. I think this is going to be one of those low scoring kind of mad games, another 21-17 type game, but the Giants will prevail, especially at plus 3 points.
Yeah, I do want them to lose though, because I am supposed to go to New York on New Year's Day with my dad and uncle. The hope was we're going to buy front row seats, which we still plan on doing, but
They're still good.
Prices are still going up. I went to look last week. I'm like, oh yeah, they're probably sitting around like $400 or $500, like they were like a couple months ago. $700, and you know all the fees that they tag onto those. I'm like,
yeah,
we might be sitting in the second row for $500 less.
I've been watching the Bills tickets. Me and my girlfriend have
it's
been
horrible.
trying to go, and it's like I'm not going to pay $300 to see the Bills and Vikings. That's what the tickets are going for right now. When this time last year, I could probably get a game ticket in the 300 levels for like $50.
Right.
I don't know what switched, because it's not like the Bills became overnight favorites. Like, we all knew like this team was going to be good, and when teams are good, the ticket prices rise. That's just the name of the game. That's how it is. But at this late into the season, I mean, what are we going to see come January when it's negative 10 degrees?
Playoff time. My friend, he's from here, moved down to Texas, got married down there, came back home a couple weekends ago to celebrate his marriage with all his family up here. And he wanted to go to a Bills game. It was the weekend of the Bills Steelers, and he's like, "There's no way I'm going."
Oh my, yeah, it's just unbelievable against even like lowly teams. You know, at the time when the Jets were not surprising, when they were like 0-2 or 1-3, whatever they were, the Bills Jets tickets were even like $250 a ticket. Unbelievable. I don't know. There's my rant, but
good. Yeah, it almost makes you want to like, okay, I got to buy season tickets and then just sell them. Yeah. You'd make a killing. You make a killing.
You buy the season tickets, go to 2 games, and
I mean, how much profit do you think people are making off those 300s, those 300 level seats?
This, especially
at least $200 a game.
The season ticket holders who have had the season tickets for how many years now, and whatever price that they get them at, it's just unbelievable.
Oh, they're killing.
Yeah, they're paying off. They're what's that what are they gonna sell when the new stadium gets built? The little vouchers to purchase the rights to buy the seat.
Yes,
they're saving up and buying all those.
Good for them. Good for them. Seriously.
Going back there, give me Giants. Give me the over-under. Give me the 41.5 under.
100%.
Moving on to Browns and Ravens. The Ravens are 6-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 45.5. The Ravens have now choked, I think, their last 3 games.
Yep.
What are you thinking here?
I want to take the Ravens for the straight-up win, but I don't know about them covering that spread.
6 points is a lot for a team that has now choked 3 times in a row.
Yeah, it's bad. I'm taking the under on that. Actually, I did read today that Lamar and Mark Andrews were a little banged up, so that might change.
That. Yep,
that might change a little bit.
Mark Andrews' ankle and Lamar, was it shoulder?
Yeah, something along the lines of that. So that might change a little bit. This Browns team is feisty. They stink too. They're not good at closing out games. Like, they're poo-poo, and I love it. That's what they get for the whole Deshaun Watson stuff.
Agreed.
But yeah, I'm having I think the Ravens will win, but again, I don't think they cover that spread.
Nope, I'm right there with you. I don't trust the Ravens anymore. You know, I went in, thought, Lamar Jackson was playing out of this world, but the last couple of games he's kind of blown. He's been part of the reason they've blown leads.
100%.
He can't finish for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know. If
he's awesome first 3 quarters.
Exactly.
Great.
If the Ravens could only play 3 quarters, they'd be the best team in the league, hands down. Lamar Jackson would be
They
Super Bowl
literally
MVP.
replaced the Falcons from a couple years ago.
Wrong birds. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I think they win, but I am not touching that spread. Give me the under. The offense has been great, but again, divisional matchup, things are wonky. It always seems they go opposite of what you think they're going to go. So
Usually, yeah.
I'll slam the under there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Falcons at Bengals. The Bengals are 6.5-point favorites. The over-under is set at 47.5. How you feeling?
There's a part of me that wants to take an over. There's a part of me that does, because this Falcons team is actually really fun.
This Falcons team just beat the supposed top defense in the league 28-14.
I know, and Marcus Mariota just got Offensive Player of the Year week for the NFC. I love this Falcons team. I love what they stand for. I really hope that I want to see them win the division. I know they got screwed out of it. That fake roughing the passer against Brady, that pissed me off. Really, that irritated me. I'm a big Brady stan. I'll defend him when I can, but that was he's like, I don't throw the flags.
The articles write themselves at that point.
Oh, God. It's so frustrating. The Falcons should have won that game. They were coming back. They're rallying back. You know what? I will say I will go for the over, but I will also take the Bengals covering that spread. I think it's going to be high scoring, close to fair.
I think the Falcons cover here. Like you said, there's something there. They're a fun team to watch, and the Bengals haven't. I think they're still hungover from the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They're not quite the same, and I almost feel as if going into fantasy that Jamar Chase's last game was more of a flash in the pan.
Right.
And that offense, something's not clicking the way that it was last year, and I don't know if they've completely found their identity for this year yet. So I think this is a trap game for the Bengals. I think that they could fumble this one. This could be a similar situation to the Bills and the Jags last year.
Right.
Where out of nowhere, the Jags come in and sneak one out. So I like the Falcons here. I just have a hunch about this one. But yeah,
whatever gets you more fantasy points out of Joe Burrow, I don't care.
Yeah.
Falcons keep piling on points. Please.
Packers at Commanders. The Packers are 4.5-point favorites. This is a snooze fest. Over-under is set at 41.5. When was the last time an Aaron Rodgers game had that low of an over-under?
Brother.
There's a lot of sleepers this week.
I thought I was at first I'm
there's
some good football games,
no,
and I'm
there's
just
not. There's a lot of bad
These
games.
last few weeks, I felt
I'm
there's just
telling
been
you.
bad football.
Well, I mean, the Monday night game was Thursday night games.
no one wanted to win the
If
Monday
I
night
was
game.
Amazon, I'd be like, what are we paying for?
Amazon
We
had
need
to
to
I almost
scramble.
wanted to buy Amazon Prime again just to delete it, deactivate it, because that's how bad football has been on those games.
And I feel bad for these announcers. They're trying so hard.
Oh, Al Michaels is God.
You
Wonderful, just trying to be. You're right. He's trying to sell it. He's trying to be. He's like, this is terrible. This is terrible. Like the Colts Broncos one, he was like, oh, let's get a close up on all the fans leaving right as they go in overtime.
I saw a tweet. It said Al Michaels is like that teacher that's about to retire and
Yeah.
they just don't care anymore.
Yeah, he's
And I
like,
thought of
yeah,
Moranto
yeah,
immediately.
right, yeah, thanks. Yeah, do what you want. I don't care. Yeah, this is. I mean, I just wish he'd say that. Like, man, the games used to be a lot better. Like, maybe there's too many
There's been
night
some
games.
bad football.
Why
this-
can we
this year.
flex out a team in week 3? Because that's really where we should be with some of these games.
They
The Broncos
really-
should
yeah.
not be allowed to play a game that anyone
3
has to
consecutive
watch
primetime
again.
games? Come
They
on.
should. They're and I said Russell Wilson was going to suck. By the way, like I said,
Call it.
he's
Call
done.
it.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Broncos country.
I wrote that in that
we
friend's
rode
wedding
into the
card
ground.
too. I really wrote it. I didn't say congratulations on your marriage. He announced that he was having a baby. I didn't write that. I just go Broncos country, let's ride. Matt Johnson.
That's great.
I love that.
And a Mazel Tov card too. I didn't give him a wedding card. I just didn't care.
That's great.
So this game, I'm definitely taking the under. However, I'm more interested. It's hard for me to picture the Packers losing again. What would that be? 3 straight losses?
Yeah, it doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right.
I am super excited for Taylor Heineke to be QB again.
Taylor
I don't
Heineke
know.
Revenge game.
I
I
don't
was
know.
pretty high on Carson Wentz going into the season. Me and Mike
I
made
was
a bet.
too. I'm like, yeah.
And I felt like that Carson Wentz could bring a 7-9 Taylor Heineke led team that didn't have much else change to at least 8 or 9 wins.
I
I
had
was
them
wrong.
close to winning the division. I really did. I didn't think they were going to beat the Eagles. I thought they would surpass the Cowboys. But look at they're in the basement, and look at how
They're
can
deep in the basement too.
deep. Like there's not a whole lot of catching up. Right? What are they 2-3?
1-4, I believe. They are.
No, 2-4.
They
I'm
are
sorry, 2-4. You know, like Carson Wentz came in, and I love. I mean, there's a part of me that loves seeing this because the Colts moved on from last year. But you made Terry McLaurin fantasy irrelevant. You had all these weapons, right? You're starting off hot. You got Terry McLaurin, you got John Dotson, you got Curtis Samuel.
Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Fantastic story.
Oh, I love it.
Chase Young, comeback player of the year potentially.
Yeah.
Once he comes back.
Right. That defense is bad, but the offense has not done them any favors. I don't know.
It's like at this point, like, do you start thinking about selling off some of your assets? Like, do you
Washington? Yeah. Starting off with their owner.
Am I starting to feel
just completely from the ownership to the GM to the coach.
House.
Yeah. Seriously,
Can they do a vote of no confidence? Like the woman who's prime minister of England who's been there for like a week and a half, and they're already said she's gonna be gone. Like, hopefully she didn't finish. She kept the boxes. Like she's gonna be like. Could you have a vote of confidence for that owner? That'd be great.
Well, there's a lot of talk going on right now. The other owners have to vote and get him out. And Jim Irsay, bless his heart, the Colts owner, came out publicly after all the other owners said we're not going to talk about it with the media. Jim Irsay's like, nah, he got to go.
Let's talk about it.
Let's go. He's got to go. So, but yeah, I'm going to take the under here and Commanders winning this thing.
You have the Commanders winning?
I do.
Okay.
I do. That's one of my bold picks of the week.
It's tough. Again, like you said, you don't see the Packers losing another one, but they're broken.
Yeah, dude.
Aaron Rodgers looks old.
They
don't
Jones,
have anyone to throw to.
Aaron Jones is crap. This year, he doesn't like to hand the ball off to him. They're playing from behind so much, they're throwing a bunch, and there's nobody to catch. Yeah. Like last year, he went on this big thing about I gotta have Randall Cobb,
and then
get
old man Cobb, and he's hurt.
Yeah, dude, he's never been
They're
good.
throwing out a skeleton out there at that
Seriously,
point.
he's never been great at all. Like Alan Lazard is their number one. It's like.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers and Randall Cobb are just like best buds. Like they go and just have beers together, and he's like,
Probably.
"Listen, I'm not gonna." And Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers, like, "I'm not gonna play unless my guy plays."
My guy plays. I ain't gonna throw the ball to him, but I'm gonna get him paid.
So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like Washington at least covers here, but give me the under. This is just another game of bad football. It's more bad football that's being put out.
I really hate that I said this was gonna be a good week of football.
You ready for this one? Tampa Bay Bucks at Carolina Panthers. Tampa Bay is 10.5-point favorites. Over under set at 40.5.
Bucks straight up. The Panthers just lost Robbie Anderson, so I don't know if they're going to cover that spread.
PJ Walker is
just
starting.
kidding. Sam Darnold's supposed to be back this week.
He was designated to return. I did see that.
To return.
He's practicing. I don't.
It's amazing that a Tampa Bay Buccaneers squad that just lost to the Steelers, the way that they did, and has so much internal turmoil, is favored by that much over the Panthers.
That's a huge spread, 10.5.
Especially on the road too. Like usually
Is
most
Carolina
home
that
teams.
bad?
Oh, they're bad, and they just
They're
fired their
awful.
head coach. They
Yeah,
traded
but the new coach thing. Sometimes those new coaches show up and there's guys playing for something.
Usually, but not for the Panthers.
Okay.
Usually, but not for the Panthers. They traded some assets for Baker. It's not panning out. The whole Sam Darnold thing's not panning out. They lost some draft picks in that. I would like to see them win because I think they have good players on their team. McCaffrey's great. DJ Moore is really, really talented.
And defense is fun and it's.
I'm ready to drop DJ Moore because he's not good right this year. And the defense, they what do they make, like 8 straight draft picks of defensive players, like in 2020 and 2021.
Their entire draft last year was just defensive players.
Yeah,
not a single offensive player. And
all these studs and just can't put it together. It's horrible.
I even had the Panthers. I was on another podcast right before the season started, and I said the Carolina Panthers could be a sneaky wild card play. That's gone and out the window.
Oh, 100%. I thought that Baker might be, good.
I thought he had some fire in him.
Because the NFC is not that like deep.
No, it's wide open. Beyond the Eagles, it's wide open.
Right.
So
as far as teams,
it could have been anyone.
wild card teams, stuff like that. Yeah, it's shameful. It really is.
Yeah. Give me Bucks. Give me them covering. Give me the under, even at 40.5. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. The Bucks only really scored a bunch when they were getting the Chiefs went to prevent defense when they were whooping on them. They're up by 3 touchdowns.
Jeez, yeah. Tampa Bay might be no longer after all this.
Dude came back to get his cheeks clapped by the Steelers, and he's gonna lose his wife. Come on.
What do you won nothing. You got nothing out of this.
He might
year.
win the NFC South.
Maybe. Be a one and done in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Gonna go up against the Eagles
this year.
I know, right? Look at the competition that he's going up against.
Again, it's the old Seinfeld thing where George Costanza says, "I'm out, everybody," and he leaves. He has the one funny line and he just leaves. That should have been Tom after the last Super Bowl.
He could have rode off in the sunset.
Now, I said this to somebody
happy
else.
Happy wife and happy life.
This is going to be one of those things that we're going to always remember about Tom Brady. Not Tom Brady when he was in his prime. We're going to remember that too, but we're also going to remember the Tom Brady whose face looks funny and the Skeletor, and then why was he still here? The party's over. Everybody else went home.
You
did it. You won. You won everything.
You get it. You're the GOAT. And now everybody kind of accepts it. But why are you still here? Go home.
Go home. You did what you had to do. You went off and you won the Super Bowl with another team. You said it wasn't Bill Belichick that made me. It's looking like I made him.
I totally agree with that. I think that he proved, not that Belichick's, because Belichick's still a great coach.
Yes.
But I think most people would think he went and won a Super Bowl, though you didn't. So he gets the win on that. And now, will Fox still bring him in, you think? Or no, was it
probably,
Fox?
Yeah.
But,
they're going to be chomping at the bit.
I think it's already signed and ready to go.
I know, but is he less? I mean, he's not going to be a Tony Romo, I just don't know if he's going to be as fun in that role now is because of all this other crap.
Right. I can see him more of an Aikman than a Romo.
Right. I think he's got some good analytical stuff. He's seen a lot of stuff. He can offer some points, but the entertainment. I mean, I've seen Tom Brady can be pretty funny.
Yeah, he is
very funny.
His social media is pretty good.
He does a really good job with it. Yeah. But yeah, dude, he's making. I think he's going to make more as a commentator or analyst than he ever did it collectively as a player.
It was like a 10-year, $100 million deal or something like that, right?
It's crazy.
Stupid money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, give me Bucks. I'm covering, taking the under. Moving on to the 4 o'clock games on Sunday, we have Texans at Raiders. Raiders are 7-point favorites. Over-under set at 45.5.
What? Hold up.
45.5 for this over-under.
How?
So there's always me and Mike were joking about this a couple weeks back. There's always one game that looks like an absolute turd.
Yeah,
and then it ends up being one of the coolest games of the year.
I think it's you're honestly it's a good point. It's true. The Raiders are probably one of the most disappointing teams this season.
Definitely.
So far. I mean, God, who could have foreseen that Josh McDaniels would destroy another team?
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I know. They were I love their story last year. So much to overcome. They made the playoffs in the last week, and they could have beat the Bengals. They could have. All with an intern head coach, but this game, I don't know. I'm taking the under. I'm really disappointed in the Texans too. I was a big Davis Mills stan. But coming in this year with his big old neck and stuff, but he
if Mike were here, he'd tell you no Davis Mills slander allowed on this podcast.
I was all ready to go buy a Davis Mills jersey and hang it up on the wall, but I'm over that. But this Texans team is sneaky good.
Another fun one.
Yeah, I concur. I would take the under on this one.
Yeah.
The Texans play good defense.
They're solid. I say solid loosely, but they're an okay defense, and they're okay across both ends. They're not anything they're not terrible. They're gonna win some games. It's unfortunate because it's probably gonna end up they're a middling team and they get a mid-round pick for
right. Yeah, they're probably a year away too because they're still clearing a lot of cap space issues from Bill O'Brien.
They're missing a few pieces, and they got to work through some of that dead money.
Yeah.
But Dameon Pierce is fun.
He's
I
so
love
much
watching
fun.
Dameon Pierce.
That dude's good. He's only gonna keep getting better.
Plays with power. He plays with grit, and he who would have expected that out of him before training camp started?
Right.
I mean, what was he, a fifth
Right.
round pick?
He was fourth or fifth. He was late, and then the hype started building up, and it wasn't good at first, but it's getting better.
Yeah.
Now,
He's
as
building.
far as like, I picked the Texans on our show for an upset, and I was the only one who did it out of 5 people. So but I don't know. You never know. I mean, Devontae, my one friend said this on the show. He's now like Devontae Adams is now technically a he's not a convict, but he's like he's a criminal. So he finally earned his Raiders powers.
Yeah.
He belongs there.
This is the part where he pops off. The NFL all-prison team is unbelievable. If you think about that.
Oh, L. Davis
And
would have signed him in 2 seconds.
The
right?
NFL prison
Al
team
Davis,
just
right?
got.
I mean, he would have had like all these guys on his team. The whole team would have been.
for sure.
been what was this? What was the thing in the? What's the what do they call themselves in the longest yard?
Oh,
the Mean Machine.
Oh,
They
yes.
would have been. It would have all been every single guy that got arrested.
So-
Like
I don't know.
That's the
I mean-
all-prison team just gained Devontae Adams, and now they're looking like a
Pretty much.
superpower.
Pretty much. Yeah, he unlocked his special Raiders power, so he might go off for like 300 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. But I mean, that's kind of why Derek Carr has been underwhelming. He's a good human, and he doesn't belong on the Raiders.
No.
But
Gotta
They
go on
need,
and
like,
like
we
start
need
a
some
dog
dirt.
fighting ring or something.
Need some dirt on him somewhere. Like he probably like committed arson or something. We just haven't found out yet.
he stole a candy bar one time when he was 7.
Get off his game.
But yeah, I don't know what I thought the Raiders were gonna be good.
I thought so too.
I literally stopped
I
doing
thought
my
they had
Facebook page because Raiders fans were so annoying, just talking.
I thought they had a
endless-
chance in the West. They
Yeah.
don't. I mean,
Yeah.
with the Broncos there, I don't know, but they don't have a chance.
Those two teams are crap. They're crap.
Chargers are not far behind them either.
No,
Remember when we
unfortunately.
thought the AFC West was going to be an absolute powerhouse of
Yeah.
a division?
Yeah,
And it
and-
turns out it's the AFC East all along.
Chargers
A-
are the
yeah,
most
AFC's
overrated team of all time.
I know.
Always.
They always do this.
They're,
Every
they're
year.
the yearly
This is the
overrated
year.
It's my brother's
This
favorite
is it,
team.
man.
I know.
Here
This
comes
is it.
the charge.
10-7 and a first-round
never.
exit.
They're always bad. They
It's-
always find a way. Something bad luck or something happens.
Yeah.
It just they're
Injuries.
always bad.
It's my brother's favorite team. That's why we picked. Because we're going to the one the day after Christmas in Indy, front rows, sitting right behind the Chargers. And at first, like watching the first couple weeks, I'm like, man, the Colts are gonna get their shit rocked. And then now I'm like, this might be an actual game. This way, you're telling me there's a chance. So yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, this game is bad. But I did pick the Texans in an upset. I think they
Stay true
could.
to it. I think they can
could.
do it. This is a game to do it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Jets at Broncos. Now, if you were to kind of predict this game a month ago, I think it'd be a lot different than what you think now.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos are still a 1-point favorite, and the over-under is set at 38.5.
Slamming the under.
Oh, that's too low. 38.
They'll find a way.
That's
The Broncos are like the worst scoring offense right now in the league. And I don't know how the Jets score points. I really haven't. Running game?
there's no passing game.
Nothing.
And then even like Michael Carter, it's just Breece Hall.
Yeah.
It's the Jets offense is Breece Hall.
Yeah.
That's it.
100%. And I'm taking the Jets straight up.
Give me Jets. This is easy money. This is a +1. That's free money right there. I'm gonna have to take the over here because 38.5 is just too small for me. I think the Jets could, put the hurt on the Broncos. Dare I say the Jets come out there and win like 28-10.
Right.
But that's still 38. 28. let's fix that to 28-14.
There you go.
There we
there
go.
you go. I like it. Yeah. Broncos country, let's hide. This
like
team
that.
this team is bad. It's sad. I love watching. I see some of the Twitter stuff, and they did the Broncos country, let's ride, and there's like a kitchen burning behind Russell
Yeah, I
Wilson,
saw
and the stadium's burning behind Russell Wilson. I'm like, this is beautiful.
And Mr. Unlimited
What
is looking real limited.
What a poser.
He's a method actor that just is learning how to play quarterback, and he finally it got real for him. And
Yeah, I got to win it on my own. Then he goes to Denver, and he's literally the reason why they're not winning. I watched him last year when he had his broken thumb. He was calling plays in an invisible huddle. All right, he was doing that. This year he was practicing running out and high-fiving nobody.
Yep, I saw that one too.
Get out of here.
Have you seen his TikToks at all?
No, I don't. I can't.
He does a little dance and he's like, the things I care about most: faith, family, football. But like serious, not like like unironically he's doing it.
Oh God, it's so bad to watch. But Denver's screwed long term. They're screwed.
I mean, they sunk so much money into him, and it's like
draft capital. You can't recover from that.
You can't fix it. He has to unless he goes on a ayahuasca journey or something and fixes himself. I don't know.
Mark Rippon's about to be the long-term answer because Russ just ain't it. He ain't it.
Yeah, give me Jets. Give me the over. I think the Jets win this one pretty handily. Seahawks at Chargers. Seahawks are 6.5-point underdogs. The over/under is 51.5.
If the Chargers were playing the way I thought that they could, I would say go over. But the Chargers have been real disappointing. I'm going to take the under on this one. I would. I have the Seahawks winning this one. An upset. Geno Smith.
Geno Smith looks like what Russell Wilson was supposed to be in Denver.
Correct. That's correct. I mean, look at this Seahawks team offense is running so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And who would have thought? Right, 2015, after Geno Smith got punched out by that IK Anapoli or whatever, that in 2022 we'd be talking about Geno Smith being that dude.
Yeah.
Right, like he's probably on track right now to win Comeback Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Him, Saquon are probably up there in that category. And he's fantasy football relevant.
Yeah.
Like
he's a top 10 quarterback play every week. That's
I was looking for him last week. He was picked up off waivers, so I had to settle for Carson Wentz. It's another story. But yeah, see, I like what Seattle's doing. They're tied at the top right now.
Yeah,
of their division.
It's the NFC West is also just brutal.
Yeah,
and so that's anyone's game. It's so funny with Geno Smith. I picked him up after week 1, and I was in one of my dynasty leagues. And I stashed him, and I just flipped him and Michael Gallup for Kenny Pickett in a second-round pick. Ooh. Who would have thought that I was going to flip Geno Smith for anything?
For a long-term answer, yeah. I know.
It's just unbelievable the way that Seattle offense turned around under Geno Smith.
It's a bad look for Russ. It's a real bad look for Russ.
You know who the greatest winner of this is? Pete Carroll.
I thought this dude was holding out a touch.
Yeah.
He fleeced him.
Mm-hmm.
He fleeced everybody.
Gotcha.
And chewing his gum aggressively.
Running down the sideline. And, the Chargers look broken. They didn't want to win that game against the Broncos.
No, it's sad.
We keep saying it, a lot of bad football. And the Chargers are another victim.
Yeah.
Of
Their
this
defense is
sad
disappointing.
fate.
Like, J.C. Jackson hasn't been what they panned out. And
what a terrible signing that was.
Yeah,
Jeez.
they massive amount of money. I was worried about that when it happened. I was excited, but I was worried because a lot of these guys they leave Belichick's system and go make a ton of money, but they don't play.
And it's good for the player. You never root for a player to not get their money.
Oh, I'm all about players getting money.
But it's just wow, what a bad signing it turned out to be.
Yeah, Keenan Allen and his hamstring. Like, come on.
Is he ever going to play a game this year?
I think he's out for this week already.
Jeez. Give me the Seahawks money line. It's sitting at plus 230. You throw $10 down. You made a quick lunch for yourself. Give me Seahawks outright. And you know what? Let's see the over. I want to see some sparks fly here.
I would love a shootout, man. I would love a Justin Herbert, Geno Smith shootout. Something I never thought I'd ask for. Let's do it. Fire it up.
Let's go. We got the Chiefs at the 49ers. This is probably the game of the week, I think. The Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 48.5.
Under. I'll still take under.
Okay.
And I'm taking Chiefs on that.
Yeah, Chiefs get a bounce back game here for sure.
Offense is just better.
Yes.
Offense is better.
Great.
That's the difference maker right there.
Yep. 100%.
And I think like Casey's defense isn't great, like name value, player value wise, but they play up really good.
Yeah, they don't need to be great with how good that Patrick Mahomes and that offense is. They just have to be serviceable enough to make sure that the other team isn't scoring as much. Like the defense isn't going to really win them games, but they don't need to.
Like, I was actually impressed about how they handled Buffalo. I know they lost, right? It was 24-20, I think the score was.
24-20.
and I was actually really impressed with how Kansas City played defense against Buffalo.
I mean, you're holding the number one offense in the entire league to 24 points, and
Right.
that says something.
It speaks volumes. And I think they had some banged up guys in the secondary, playing a lot of newbies, which is no excuse, next man up, but I still think it's impressive. I like their defensive coordinator. Steve, was it Spagnuolo?
Yeah.
He's really, really good. He's always done a good job of coaching up his players.
Definitely.
They never had to go out and sign a big-name talent. It's just,
Yep.
okay, we got decent, coachable guys, and they play above their expectation level.
Yeah, no, I think, like you said, it comes down to Kansas City Chiefs offense plays better.
Yeah.
Give me the under here because both these defenses, San Francisco's defense is still top 5. And like we said, the Chiefs defense doesn't need to be special, but it's just enough to be another probably 24-20 type game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go on to Sunday Night Football. Steelers at Dolphins. Tua's back, and they are 7-point favorites against the Steelers. Over under 44.5.
Taking the under.
Definitely.
Oh, man. There's a part of me that still worries about Tua.
Yeah.
I took the Steelers at an upset.
I'm right there with you.
I'm very concerned about Tua. We'll see. Obviously, he does have some great offensive weapons. And listen, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, y'all are my fantasy teams. Step it up. I could use the help a little bit. That'd be cool. But I don't know. This is a lot. To come back on Sunday Night Football, that's a lot.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Tua's shoulders here. And, I mean, do we know, is he 100%?
Right.
We don't know. We don't know how he's going to look. I haven't seen much reports out of the practice this week yet, but I'm really interested to see how he's looking.
He said he doesn't remember getting carried away in an ambulance.
That's kind
or
of
getting
scary.
carted off the field. Yeah, he doesn't remember it.
That's really scary.
But that clown, apparently Mike McDaniel, who my show loves ripping on, some of my guys, he said, yeah, Tua's fine. He knew where he was. He's looking more and more clownish.
Yeah, I liked him. I liked him coming into the season, but
excited.
some of his, he's just kind of.
Yeah, the guys are stepping up. They're taking out the ping pong table. Tyreek Hill's like, nah, we're just getting a new one. We just get a new one. He don't know what we talking
some
about.
of this stuff, it's got to be scripted. Come on.
It doesn't sound good there in Dolphinville.
No, after they won their Super Bowl already.
They did. They sure did.
And the Steelers, they look decent. They surprised me when they beat the Bucks.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett looks good. I thought he looked decent against Buffalo. I didn't expect him to win. I mean, you don't think it's going to be a blowout either, but
for your first start to be against the Bills, this Bills team, that's tough.
It's tough.
And their receivers aren't that good either. I'm sorry. Chase Claypool, he ain't it. Even Deontay Johnson, I was a little surprised that he's dropped off of a cliff.
George Pickens though has been looking good.
Yeah.
I don't think he's getting utilized as much in their offensive schemes just yet. I don't know. As the time goes on, that connection will build, and it looked pretty special. Just getting those glimpses of it.
For sure.
But I'm looking here at Steelers money line at plus 270, and I'm like, it's something to think about. And then flipping back to the Dolphins, I got a question for you here. At what point do you even start looking for another quarterback? Just given, not the talent, and it's unfortunate, but it's not the talent that's holding it back. Tua is, I saw that Tua could be one of, if not the greatest game managers that there was.
Yeah.
But how durable is he to last a full NFL season?
That is the issue because he has not really done that yet. His first year, it was half Fitzpatrick, half him, and then when he struggled, Fitzpatrick bailed him out. His first full year, banged up for a lot of it, but when he came back healthy, they rallied and they almost made the playoffs. This year, he looked really good, and he made some big-time throws. I remember just them in the Ravens game. That was amazing. Probably game of the year candidate, legit.
Definitely.
And and we seen what he could do, but it's just something missing.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me to think that the Dolphins missed out on Herbert. But would Herbert have had the same success in Miami as he is kind of in LA?
So.
Right. It's a big question, but Miami really, really wanted Tua. So.
Yep. Tank for Tua.
Yep.
They were the winners, and they got him.
They got him. They got exactly what they wanted.
There we go. You got your wish, Dolphins fans. Let's see how it rides. And now the game that we all wanted to see. Monday Night Football. Bears at Patriots. Patriots are 7.5-point favorites. We got Mr. Zappy coming back. Over-unders 39.5. How you feeling?
Dear God. These primetime games are so bad. They're
we got
so
the
bad.
Justin Fields and Bailey Zappi showdown. Just what we all asked
Just
for
what we all asked
primetime
for.
television.
Bears are trash. Taking the under. Patriots cover and win.
This is one of those rare games for me where the over-under is set in the 30s, and I'm still taking the under.
Yeah.
I think we'll be lucky to see a touchdown this game, as it seems to be with these primetime games.
Yeah, I think Bailey Zappi will put it on him. I really do. I'm such a big Bailey Zappi fan right now. I'll take the under, but it'll be just all Patriots. Justin Fields is not good. I'm sorry, he's not good. He's literally following the trope.
I want him to be so good, so
know.
bad, but it's just not there.
There's people who are like, yeah, I'll take him on the Colts. What? No.
I did a little research for you for Monday night's game. I'm gonna be watching Dallas at New Orleans on TNT at 7:00. That's 7:30. I think you're
fair.
better off watching baseball or NBA. I just go watch a baseball MLB playoff game.
This is the
There's
best
gotta be a
time
good
of
game
year
out,
for
right?
sports,
Just,
and
yeah,
there's
like-
got to be a better game out.
It's
Yeah.
just
I
the
might
best,
watch wrestling
but
that
not
night. I haven't
at
done
8
that in 3
o'clock.
years.
Not 8 o'clock though.
No.
on ESPN or whatever. No, is ESPN on Monday nights? Like that's not the best time
No.
for sports. Whatever that is. Any like
8:15 Monday
Yeah,
nights is
like-
not.
I
the
might
best
watch
time.
Star
Go
Wars
wa-
Episode
yeah.
8.
Ted Lasso. Go watch.
I might watch
Ted
Paint
Lasso.
Dry.
I might go rewatch the Broncos Colts game instead of this.
Go. That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh boy. So yeah, I don't know if I will be tuning in for this game. I think I have to. I have an obligation to keep the podcast running. Something to talk
Yeah,
about.
just watch highlights the next morning.
That's
You'll be
probably
all right.
what I'm gonna have to do.
Just highlights.
Just the highlights.
Just
It'll
lights.
be
Yeah.
it'll be 45
It
seconds
might not be
long.
low lights. It might be highlights. Just lights.
Yeah.
Just watch the lights.
45 seconds of
Yeah.
a couple plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me Patriots covering. I think Patriots win this one 14-2. Let's give me a safety.
Nah,
here.
Zappy's not taking a safety. He's too good for that.
That's fair. All right, you got it. You got it.
Give him a throw. We'll give him a 3. We'll give him a field goal.
Okay.
Give him a field goal.
14-3. That's the final of this game. Tune in, everyone. That's the slate of games that we got for Take It to the Bank. Going on into the fantasy world. How are
Yes.
you doing this week?
Oh, God. Terrible. Just terrible. I'm winning in maybe 2 of my 9 leagues.
I had not this
Maybe
past
3.
week. The week before that, that was probably one of my worst showings. I lost in 5 out of my 6 leagues. Those weeks are like the most demoralizing weeks. Like you're like, wow, I spent all this time putting things together just for my team to be 2-4.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. So I run 2 leagues out of our studio, and I'm 2-4 in one in one and 1-5 in the other one. And I was like, I had the best draft. Everything's going great. And just the problem with fantasy this year is that no-name dudes are putting up all the points.
Yep.
People who are projected like 2 points on the waiver, like in the waiver wire, those are the guys who are producing and hitting.
Yeah. Taekwon Thornhill, the second-round pick. Out
Yeah,
of,
bro. Like who?
Who?
Who? No clue. I have no clue. And people are like sending me trade offers or offering me these guys who I've never heard of. And just like, no.
Like, am I getting? I almost thought, like, am I getting old? Am I like missing people? But these are just really like first and second year players that have been second and third stringers that are just now coming in relevancy, whether it be injury or whether it be new schemes. I don't know. It's been a tough year for fantasy, and I thought I saw somewhere that in like terms of fantasy points, like this year is the lowest in like the last 5 years.
I'm sure
in
it
total
is.
Well,
fantasy
you know what?
points this far.
And this is the first year I really kind of got back in the fantasy in a really long time. And the one thing I'll say is that I think a lot of teams that we thought were going to be good aren't. So when you have all those teams that, like aren't performing the way they were, a lot of people grab players off those teams.
Yeah.
So if you happen to, I'm going to try a guy and put him in my bench, and then you're like, well, he had a good week, I'm going to put him in. That's kind of what it is. I feel like There's just a lot of there's just so many teams that aren't leading, and then there's been some injuries and things. Like I think like if you have Hill down in Miami, he was great, but how many looks is he getting right now? So he doesn't have a quarterback. So and he would have been I think he would have been probably a good pick, but I just don't think and I think there's just that story is like everybody's got 5 guys like that.
I even look like I'm thinking like Breece Hall was projected. His ADP brought him right around the cusp of the 4th round.
Yeah,
and I stayed away from him in all my leagues because I didn't trust the Jets.
He plays for the Jets.
Yeah. I'm like you don't play bad teams players because they're not going to get you a lot of points
Usually
unless
not,
their
right.
name is Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
Or
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Typically.
And, I stayed as far away from him as I could, and now you're going to see a lot of championship rosters with Breece Hall on their team.
Yeah.
Taking that chance because it's just so unpredictable.
Right.
But, yeah, in our Emerge League, I am currently sitting at 4-2.
Very nice.
First in the East. I am actually, second place, I think. I might have this wrong, but I believe I'm second place in total scoring, only behind Mr. Dylan, who's been flooring everyone. Dylan's been on a warpath.
Has he?
It's it's a tough stop.
Good on him.
He's the one that's really carrying the Tank Talk show. So if they end up winning it all, it'll be because of Dylan. But I have been holding my own for the Big Yak podcast to slap that sticker over Tank Talk and take the glory. I beat Morento last week.
You did. It came down to which wide receiver had the better game.
Right.
Yep.
And my guy didn't catch a ball. I think he caught one. I think he had one catch. Williams.
Mike Williams.
Yeah, I didn't expect. I think what were we like 3 points apart when the game started?
Had Cortland Sutton,
and you had Sutton, and you also had a defense, right?
And I had
the defense.
Yeah.
So
the kicker. I had Denver's kicker.
You had Denver's kicker. So I mean, it was close, and it's funny because 2 of the weeks I'm 2-4, and 2 of the weeks that I've lost out of the 4 that I've lost is 2 of them. My point total was second highest for the week. Like
you're just getting some bad luck.
The guy I'm getting. I think I lost to Dylan the 1 week and things like that. I'm gonna shout him out because the guy that's kind of doing well is Zach Squared.
Zach Squared is holding their own,
and he did the whole I don't know anything about football.
I think he was hustling us
a
little bit.
Sometimes you just accidentally fall into it. That's what I think too. Like I'm so invested in this. I love like when Fantasy Football magazine starts dropping on store shelves. I'm like, okay. Summer has begun. We're close to football season.
Yep.
And I start analyzing and just reading over and over again, like, what am I going to do here? I do so many mock drafts. And, like, I feel like I maybe just over-prepare for it now. Like, I really thought I've drafted, like, the last 2 years I thought I've drafted really, really good teams. And they've all just been just busts, just absolute busts of teams. I've only won fantasy one time 5 years ago. And it hasn't justified the amount of money I paid back like into fantasy football leagues. It hasn't.
I'm in multiple different leagues with multiple different groups of people, so it's kind of fun to see like how all the players' heads are at and like how each league kind of forms throughout the years. But I'm in one back when I was still at Wegmans. So we had a Wegmans Work League, and I was the back-to-back champion.
No kidding.
And that this is now I'm like 2 years removed from it. But I will never be able to relive how good it felt to just wash a league 3 years in a row.
That's
crash and burn. I came in last place last year.
Oh God.
Now I'm in the middle of the pack.
It's tough. I wanted to say this. Like this year's like the first. I look at the first 3 rounds of draft picks, and I would dare so say about maybe 2/3 of those have been very underwhelming.
Yeah. And those are picks that are your safe picks.
Right.
Those are supposed to be your kind of cornerstones to the team, but who out of the first round of picks are really performing?
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Everyone was scoffing at taking Josh Allen or Stephon Diggs or Travis Kelce because they were safe. I mean, they were like no one picked him because of how safe that they looked.
Well, I picked Derrick Henry because I thought he's doing okay.
He's finally
catching
starting
steam.
back up.
But like the old Derrick Henry. I figured because I was kind of like, well, he needed a lot more time.
Yeah.
I gave him a lot of credit for playing in that playoff game. But I thought he was going to be much, and I think he's getting, so maybe, the second half of the season,
Mm-hmm.
but other guys, other guys, like, just, you kind of expected it. And it's, you've said it, I think you said it last week, or maybe it was talking about the number of people if depending on the size of the league, it makes it interesting too.
Yeah.
Because our league's only 8 teams.
Right.
Where if you get in one where it's 15 or 20, or I don't know what the max would be. Like, what's your largest one?
14, and I would never, ever do anything more than that.
Yeah, like it just spreads it out so much. So that kind of is an interesting one, because then a lot of guys that
really
would never
relies
get
on your
picked.
drafting.
Yeah, like that's kind of a fun. I kind of like that. I wish we would have had. Hopefully next year we can get a couple more people to join, because
Definitely.
I think it would make it a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of disparity, like you kind of going into that. I'm in 2 8-team leagues, 2 10-team leagues, and 2 12-team leagues.
12 is
And
perfect for me.
12 is the exact
Yep.
right number that I think every league should be. It spreads out teams evenly. You don't kind of wind up with a few super teams. But going back, even just looking at like who really performed in the first round. I'm going down the list, and anyone that took Saquon Barkley is now patting themselves on the back.
Yeah.
He was a
Him and-
second to third round cusp pick.
Him and McCaffrey, I was like, stay away from. They're going to get hurt. And McCaffrey's done all right for himself. All right. Not spectacular, but all right. He was a second and third overall for a lot of people. And Saquon, yeah, he was like second, third round. He fell a lot, and he is paying off in dividends. He is that entire offense in New York.
He is. It's the New York Saquon Barkley.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad to see it, too, because it's.
I loved him as a player. If I almost wanted the Bills to make a move for Saquon Barkley way back when.
Yeah.
With LaShawn McCoy kind of on the way out. But
Yeah.
that was Josh Allen's year, so we all know how that went. But even now, like, if it doesn't look like that the Giants are going to shop Saquon anymore.
No, are still people begging, oh, yeah, we should set an offer to the Giants for Saquon. I'm like,
It's not
They're
possible.
5-1 because
they're not
of
selling
him.
anyone. They're looking to make moves for
Yes,
their team.
exactly. Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
everyone's patting themselves on the back for drafting Saquon,
Yep,
taking that chance.
For sure.
But Justin Jefferson has been a performer.
He got shut down weeks 2 and 3, I think. But other than that, he's been just
Bounced
awesome.
back with monster games,
Yeah.
30-plus point games, I think 2 or 3 times now. And Jamar Chase, I mean, what's going on with Jamar Chase?
I think it's that sophomore slump. And I think the Bengals called it, too, that that teams were going to play them a lot differently.
Definitely.
And Jamar Chase is the bigger threat, right? I mean, T. Higgins has had some decent games. He's pretty good, but they're not performing like they did last year. Like last year, I think all 3 of them, Chase, Higgins, and Boyd, all hit over 1,000 yards receiving. I don't think they're going to come close to that this year.
No, it's too late in the season for them to make a turnaround like that.
Seriously, yeah.
But, yeah, other than that, I mean, I'm also looking at guys like Delvin Cook. And, he was always kind of a risky one. I was kind of staying away from him in leagues because of that nagging shoulder injury, and it came back.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Kind of switching gears a little bit. Is there any players on the waiver wire that you're really calling out to this week?
I know last week we started a run on Alec Pierce. I think that started to become a big thing. The Colts wide receiver too, and it wasn't looking very good. I picked him up in every single league because I was like, all right, this dude's getting targets. Matty Ice loves him. It set him, and it wasn't looking good until he got that game-winning touchdown. In a lot of the leagues, though, it is it's so thin. There's I don't know. I dropped Tony Pollard this week because I'm tired of him underperforming. That's another one. Like, he was a top 3 round guy, and he just has not been great. Nobody's screaming at me. I flex defenses or stream defenses, and that's maybe the only thing that maybe a good defense matchup here and there. I stole the Pats, but yeah. I mean, honestly, the waiver wire has not been. It's been bad this year.
Not much.
No.
I'm taking a look at one of my leagues. Someone dropped Dalton Schultz. They had
I just
him
seen
as
that
a
too.
tight end
Yeah.
3. He was a tight end 3 or tight end 4 going into this year.
Yeah.
I dropped Kenneth Gainwell. I was pretty high on him going into the season. I didn't
Yeah.
think Miles Sanders was the answer, and I thought that was going to open up room for Kenneth Gainwell to
Yeah, no.
get some points.
It has
but
not panned out that way.
I just dropped him to see if Kenyon Drake will perform.
Yeah.
And that's another name where you're like, oh, Kenyon Drake, he seems to just stick around every year wherever he is.
And he
He's-
usually
he's
finds a
just
way to
okay.
produce, but he ain't doing anything this year.
Olamide Zacchaeus is now getting picked up. Like different players, again.
I'm in a couple leagues where Pitts is getting dropped.
Wow.
Yep.
See, I'm still high on Pitts, and I don't know if that's just because of the.
He
fact
had a
that
good
there's
game
hype.
this past week, but I understand it though. I'm actually glad that people are starting to look at it this way. Like people look at name value with fantasy too much, and
Yep.
it ends up costing them games.
Mm-hmm.
It
Definitely.
ends up costing them games. I was telling people last year on our fantasy episodes, like Hopkins was not producing, and I literally asked my co-host Ryan, I go, at what point do you just stop putting Hopkins in your roster? Because it's literally killing your team.
Yeah.
Saquon a couple years ago before the injury started, he was not producing. I feel obligated right now. I have Jonathan Taylor in one of my leagues. I feel obligated to put him in the lineup.
Yeah.
But it's been underwhelming. At what point do you just drop a guy? You know what I mean?
And going back to it, I'm almost that way with Jamar Chase, where it's like, okay, is now the time after his 2-touchdown game to sell high on
Yeah.
him? Is he going to produce the same level that we saw last year, or is it going to be next year until we see that again?
Right.
They always say that receivers kind of really develop and shine in their third year, but in redraft leagues, it doesn't seem like you could get such a king's ransom for him that might be worth.
It might be worth now. And you might regret it, but you can also get something you could probably get something pretty decent out of it. So it's a tough business, but yeah, people look at the name value too much. I think there's too much stock in names, and dudes aren't producing. Like for some reason, Russell Wilson is still owned in like every league.
Yeah.
It's like, and he was bouncing around the waiver wire for a little bit. People were picking him back up. It's like, what are you
Name
doing?
value.
Name
If
value.
his name was Taylor Heineke, or like
he'd be on there
Exactly.
sitting there like Taylor Heineke is right now. Like Jared Goff has played really good this year. He's on almost every waiver wire that I'm on. I mean, he had a bad game against New England. That's understandable, but he also put together 4 really good games.
Yep.
4 or 5. Yeah, 4
So
really
it was
good
with
games.
Geno Smith a few weeks ago, before everyone started to finally pick, and everyone realized how good he's been performing.
Yeah.
I mean, he was playing at a much higher level. He was playing up to the likes of like Patrick Mahomes this year.
Yeah.
For the first few weeks, or I can't even think off the top of my head who else. Josh Allen's in a league of his own, so
Of course.
it's good. But like even Kyler Murray or, yeah, I mean just other big names. Geno Smith is producing just as much.
Yes.
And when you're looking for that value, now is to sell high on your players that are name value players. And
Yeah, there's always going to
get
be a
your-
sucker to buy them. Yeah, I hate fantasy this year. I hate it so much.
Yeah, I'm losing a lot of money this year.
It's not good. Last week, I know it's my 2-point league and I stink in it, but what I like to do in my leagues is I do point per completion for quarterbacks, so it shifts the whole draft.
Wow.
Draft everything. Quarterbacks are
That's a
probably
very
just as strong, if
quarterback
not little stronger than the other positions, but it's not the be all end all.
Yeah.
And I started Carson Wentz because Matt Ryan's been kind of slipping a little bit. Carson Wentz got me in that league 13 points. And I was lucky for that.
In the point per
In that league,
completion league.
Matt Ryan last week got 78 points in that
That's
league. And
unbelievable.
people are like, people like to yell like, "Wow, why do you even play fantasy if the quarterbacks get so much?" It literally shakes up the entire formation
I have
of
a
the draft.
league where where 10 passing yards is 1 point instead of 25. So
Yeah.
quarterbacks are having regular like 50, 60 point games.
Right.
Touchdowns are 6 points, and no one caught on for the first like year or two. And I was a perennial playoff contender in this league, and everyone's like, "Dude, why are you drafting quarterback in round 1, round 2?"
I know the rules. Yep.
Look in.
I read the rule book. I did a couple drafts. I said it in group chats. I'm like, yeah, our quarterback points are different than any other league you've ever played in. People are like, really? I'm like,
They're fun.
I told you.
I
I told y'all. I
You'd
warned
be
you.
surprised at how much fun some of these like alternate rule leagues are.
And I love it. I hate going through a fantasy draft and just things happen the way they're planned.
Fantasy draft is the fantasy draft, and you're just
You know,
you lose
just going
all
through the
players
motions.
that you've
Yeah.
been
People just draft the best available. But if you know the rules, if the rules are fun and it changes stuff, then I think it makes the draft that much more interesting.
I agree wholeheartedly. I haven't dabbled yet into defensive players in fantasy.
I'm doing one league that does that.
How does that play?
Hate it.
Who's the number one performer right now? Micah Parsons?
Dear God.
Like who do you draft in a defensive league?
Let me find one of these leagues. Okay, this one right here. I drafted T.J. Watt. Was my first defensive player that I took. Not great.
Yikes.
Not great.
So it was sacks?
Oh, everything.
Tackles,
Some of them do tackle. Let me take a
interceptions.
look at who is it?
Point per reception, but it's point per tackle.
Yeah.
Like
It's right, pretty much.
Block. What it mean like? I guess.
Let's
I guess
see.
like if you even if like a guy blocks a pass, I mean,
right.
Jonathan Allen right now is the best
broken
point
up-
getter
broke-
for defensive linemen. And let's take a look at some of the scoring metrics.
You have to,
Interception,
like,
sack,
know-
forced fumble, solo tackles, passes defensed.
there you go.
Those are some of the different categories there. He's the highest point in
It's
that
like a
one.
different realm of of fantasy. Like that's for someone that's like burnt out of fantasy football and like wants to
Wants to
shake
mix it
things
up a little bit.
That's why I've always liked the hockey ones because the hockey ones are never team based.
Right.
That I always did. They were always just like total points by the players. And it's more fun in some ways because there's no defense. You don't pick a defense.
Yeah.
You could. I think we had the one I did. We did a goalie the one time. If so, like you got more points based on the least the number of goals you didn't give up.
Right.
So like there
That's
was like if you had a shutout, I think you got like I forget how we did it. Because back then we literally did it with like an
Right,
Excel
you call the
spreadsheet.
commissioner and
Like
you're
you actually, the commissioner actually like had to keep true. You had to like double check. You had the assistant commissioner to check everybody's numbers. But it was fun when we did that because I think I forget how we did it. A goalie for a shutout got like 3, and then there was a range for giving up 1 goal, and and if they gave up a lot, it was obviously like after a certain point, after 2 goals, that's what it was. It was like 3-2-1. They got
Yeah,
3
that's how a
points
lot
for
of-
shutout.
Yeah.
And then it was like then after 2 goals, you
That's how we
sucked.
kind of do
So-
for team defense scoring.
Yeah.
In a lot of leagues, they're kind of like that. Like, oh, they'll start off at a certain amount. Like
Right.
a lot of the team defense ones that I've done, they'll start off at like 15, and then the more yards and points that they give up, the lower the score, and it can
Right.
go into the negative. Sometimes it's better just not start a defense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't care for the idea. It just adds it. I did the Trap Nerd one that Josh and Joey and all them put together, and it was like a 36-37 round draft. And we went through it pretty quickly, but the first half they did offense, second half was defense.
Jeez.
And it was just it was
Those are good
exhausting.
teams. I mean, at that point in the last round of the defensive league, like who are you picking? Like second stringers or like wh-
I got so tired of it that my last pick was
like Rashad
was Henry.
Wildgoose
I
or,
just
like-
drafted Henry Ruggs. I was like, let's just call it a day. Let's take it home early, and I'm gonna go get Mr. Raider.
he's building up the NFL prison.
Oh, that was
team.
like Zach for Zach Squared. They had a draft of Zach. So they were, we got to have a Zach on the team. I forget who they got. I forget. And then just for fun, Zach drafted the guy who got suspended for gambling.
Kelvin Ridley.
Kevin Ridley. That was his
Ridley.
just for fun. He dropped him immediately and picked
Last
up
one's
somebody
always
else.
stupid,
He's like,
yeah.
I gotta draft a guy who
Team with
believes
heart.
who believes in himself. He's got heart.
I know one dude
I mean,
drifted.
like, that's pretty. I mean, he dropped him. I mean, I think he had the last pick too.
Yeah, it was like
so it was
Mr.
literally
Irrelevant pick,
he
yeah.
just dropped him immediately and then picked up somebody. I forget who he picked up, but I mean, I gotta have fun with it too. Like when you're doing these drafts,
For
especially
sure.
ours, we tried to do it live and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
That was fun. But yeah, I got nothing else for you, Matt. I mean, do you have anything else to say? Anyone you want to shout out for the Big Yak podcast?
No, I just will say this, and I kind of started off the show saying it. Just keep up the great work. All right, you guys, everything that Morano's doing here with the merge, and I'm very proud of all of our podcasts that are part of the network. It's a fun community. I wish we all got to interact a little bit more.
Definitely.
Than we do. It's very hard getting people together, and yeah, just check out our network. I don't like to plug my own stuff, but I just like to check out the network.
Oh, this is the time to do
Yeah,
it.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
You're
That's
a
why we
guest.
want you here. Yeah, go ahead.
BICBP-radio.com. There are literally podcasts for everybody. You can find something on there that you'll enjoy. It's not just what Moranto does here with the merge. It's not just what I do with the podcast precinct. There's other podcasters
Shows all
displaced
over.
all over. We have a couple video game shows that have come out of North Carolina. I don't know if they still go, but I know we had a music podcast that came from California. At one point, we had a football show that came from Toronto, and it's really fun. It's been really cool. I am not actually the creator of the network, but I do control. But the guys who created it envisioned it. He never wanted to really make money off of it, just being on the network or anything. But he just wanted to give creators a place to go where they can just post their stuff. Right? There's no restrictions. And it's grown massive. When I first started, there were 7 shows on the network, and we were averaging I was lucky to get 200 subscribers in a month, and then we just blew up. COVID hit, and we blew up. Like it's kind of messed up, but that's what happened because everybody was at home listening to podcasts, and we blew up and just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's been great. So thank you for being a part of it, both you guys.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for all of us that are doing it, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do this if I wouldn't have you invited me on Eat Sleep List, and that was like a start for me. That got me into this, got me the bug, and then you start talking to people, and then like Christian said, well, let's do one, and then Christian and I really bounced I give him a lot of credit because you and I talked about conceptually having a place where people could go, where there could be. And then Christian kind of said, well, why were you waiting? Why don't you just kind of do it? Why don't you're going to retire? And so I got lucky I had everything is kind of, all of us can say that do this podcast. Most of us aren't doing it expecting that we're going to blow up. We do it because it's a great way to get out and hang out with your friends like we did when we were kids, and now we're doing this and hopefully we're entertaining but none of us, I mean, all of us owe you such a debt of gratitude because 100%. you kind of got us going and none of us would be doing this if it wasn't for you, man.
That's right.
Yeah, I know where I was because I waited 3 years to start a podcast because I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know where I can upload episodes. I didn't know the equipment. I didn't know any of that. And the guys who created the network, Chris Chavez, Anthony Mullen, they found us and they laid out the blueprint for us to just do stuff. And there was no pressure. I didn't feel like there was expectations. Do with it what you want. Swear. Whatever. You want to drop episodes once a month? Go ahead. Drop episodes once a month. And it was so nice. And it changed me as a person. But I like to be able to. I like helping people. It's
awesome. So. Yeah. Any piece of advice for someone out there that's like you said, that's right there looking to start, not knowing where to start? What's step one for them?
Find something you're passionate about. Everybody's passionate about something, whether it's football, whether it's movies, whether it's making lists, whether it's about baseball, basketball, construction, stocks. It doesn't matter. Find something you're passionate about and just, it's really simple. There's all sorts of free apps out there to record. There's cheap microphones, cheap laptops, and that's all you really need to get started. And just, my big thing is always being consistent. Yeah. I know personally for me it's been a little tough the last couple months, not just work, but the passion sometimes comes and goes for me. I've just been doing it for so long, but just be consistent. That's one of the best things you can do. You and I talked before the show, and we all talked about just people who they come in and they do it for the wrong reasons. A lot of people are like, yeah, we're going to make a ton of money doing this. I'm like, you guys haven't dropped an episode yet. You haven't tried. Like, it's not how that works. Like, I made money from this through running my own studio spot. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like I didn't have sponsors. I tried, and it just doesn't happen all the time for everyone. You got to actually love what you're doing, and then everything else comes with it. But be consistent, and remember you're entertaining people you're listening to. It can be therapeutic for yourself. That's the reason why I got into it, because I just wanted to talk about something I loved. And people gravitated towards it, and you just got to remember to be unselfish with it. I think that's the biggest thing. You are entertaining people while expressing your own views. You just got to keep that in mind.
Great.
So
awesome. Well, thank you, Matt. Thank you, BICBP. Thank you, Moranto, for the use at Emerge Media Creators Network and Co-op. I usually I can get away with it because I can just read it. That was off of muscle memory. But Mike's got that part down. He does
That's
this
it.
part every week. So we'll see you next week, and we'll have Mike with us. Thank you.